Hello all and welcome to this hands-on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to process multiple prompts with Amazon Bedrock's Batch Inference. So let's get started. These are some reference URLs that I've mentioned over here. I would certainly recommend that you visit these URLs as they have additional information about this particular topic. For our lab today, please have the Batch Inference example URL open in front of you along with either one of these JSON formatters. I will be using jsonformatter.org for this particular lab. Now, these reference URLs will be mentioned in the description of this video. So kindly go over there, pick up the URL, copy it in your browser and navigate to that particular page. I have also created a playlist for Amazon Bedrock on my channel. This is the URL to that playlist. As I create additional videos on Amazon Bedrock, I will have them added to this playlist. This URL will also be mentioned in the description of this video. Scenario for our lab today. We need to create and schedule an Amazon Bedrock batch inference job to process multiple prompts using an AI foundational model. So it's very simple, very straightforward. Normally, what we do is we give one prompt to the model and it processes that and gives us an inference. What if you had, let's say, about 100 or more than 100 prompts to process? How would you go about doing something like that? In that case, you'll have to create a batch job, process these prompts, and then get the inference back to the user. And that's exactly what we are going to do using Amazon Bedrock's batch inference job. A couple of things to keep in mind before we proceed further along. For this particular lab, use US East or US West, that is North Virginia or Oregon region. These regions will support the foundational models used in this lab. We will be using Anthropic Cloud 3 or 3.5 Haiku for this lab. If you are using any other foundational model, then ensure that it is supported in your region and check its pricing. And most importantly, kindly ensure that you delete and release all resources after you finish this lab, as using these services can be very expensive. So if you keep these resources lingering around, then the cost will pile up. You can use either Cloud 3 Haiku or 3.5 Haiku. Either one of them will work for this particular lab. Step 1. So let's get started. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to create two S3 buckets. Now I am going to use these names at my batch inference input and my batch inference output. You can use any name that you like. So let me go to the console. This is console. Let me go to S3. And I am in North Virginia, if you see right here on the top, and I'm going to create this bucket right here. So I'm going to say my batch inference input. I'm going to copy that, scroll down, and click on Create Bucket. Let's open up a notepad. And I'm going to paste this right here. Why am I copying and pasting this in a notepad? So that I remember what all resources I have provisioned and I need to basically release or delete these resources after I complete this lab. Let's create another bucket. And this time I'm going to give my batch inference output as the name. I'm going to copy this again and scroll down and click on Create Bucket. So right here, sorry, where is it? Right here. So we have basically completed step 1. Step 2. Now go to this particular URL that I had mentioned in the reference URLs. As I said, this URL will be mentioned in the description of this video. Essentially, what we are looking for is an example of a record that we need to provide to a model for processing. So this particular URL has that example. I have this URL open right here. So this is the URL, as you can see. And we have an example mentioned over here. You see that the record with model input for Anthropic version, max tokens, etc. Just go ahead and copy this particular record. So click on copy and go to your notepad, open up a new notepad and paste it right here. So we have finished these two steps. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to remove all spaces and compact this JSON. And you can use any JSON editor that you like. I'm going to use jsonformatter.org. So let me go here and there it is. jsonformatter.org. And I am going to paste my example over here. So my example has been pasted. If we can see, it is very well formatted. What I am going to do is I am going to make this compact. So minify or compact, remember that we need to remove all spaces and all formatting from this particular example. So click on minify/compact and you will have a compact version of your example right here. Just go ahead and copy this particular version and paste it in your notepad. So I'm going to paste it right here. So we have completed step 2. In step 3, we are going to use this particular example, work with Amazon Q to create additional examples so that we can have a set of examples that we can share with our model to kind of process them. Remember that we are going to create a batch job over here. So every model has a certain requirement. For Cloud 3 Haiku or 3.5 Haiku, you need to have more than 100 records for it to consider your file for batch processing. Now remember, we only have one example. So that means we have to create 100 records. Also, there are certain constraints. For example, the record ID should be 11 character alphanumeric string. And what you can do is you can use MS Excel to count the number of records and ensure that they are over 100. If it's less than 100, it will fail validation. Okay, so let's go to AWS console and go to Amazon Q developer. This is the free version that we will be using. So let me go over here and go to my console, close this, go to Q. So if you can see, this is Amazon Q free tier. And what we are going to do is we are going to give this particular prompt. So we are going to tell Q, create additional examples without JSON spacing using the below example for Amazon's Bedrock Batch Inference using Cloud 3 or 3.5 Haiku. And we are going to give this particular example. So this is the kind of prompt that we will need to create. So I'm going to copy this from right here because I've created this prompt. Copy. I am going to paste it over here to remove any kind of special characters. Copy it. And now let's go to our Q. So this is Q. And I'm going to paste it right here. So create additional, and I'm going to say, let's say create additional 3 examples without JSON spacing using the below example for Amazon Bedrock's batch inference using cloud. I'm going to say 3.5. Let me, let me keep 3 or 3.5, whichever works for you. Okay, Cloud 3 Haiku. And And this is the example that has been given along with it. And hit enter. Now you could use Cloud 3 or 3.5. The example that you will create will work with both the versions of this particular model. So it's now generating an answer for us. And remember that we've only asked for 3 examples. So if you can see, it is intelligent enough to understand that this was record number 1, and the new examples that it is creating, it is using 2, 3, and 4. So let's copy these examples. Now, if you see over here, it is telling to analyze sentiment of this customer, provide a brief explanation of key differences between S3 standard and S3 Glacier, generate a list of 5 best practices for securing AWS Lambda function. So it has created these 3 examples for us. So let's copy them and then go back to our notepad. So I'm going to remove these, paste it right here, and most importantly, remove the spaces. So now we have 3 examples in front of us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to again actually use this. So it has created 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to paste it right here. And if you want, you can actually, let's say, change this number to whatever number you like. So I'm putting 7 over here. And again, I'm going to ask it to create 3 more examples. So let's see now what it does. So it should now create 8, 9, and 10 for me. So we are waiting for those examples to be generated. And I really love Amazon Q when it does this for me, because I don't have to put an effort to just create some examples. It does a fabulous job. So do just, try it out. Remember, this is free tier. You're not paying for anything. So it's absolutely amazing. Now go ahead and copy these examples again. Okay, copy. Again, go back to my notepad, have them pasted right here, and remove the formatting. Okay. Uh, Again, it has created, maybe there are some overlaps. Don't worry about the overlaps and what the example is. Remember, our intention at the end of the day is to generate 100 prompts, and we can actually copy paste some of these prompts as well. So now what we have is we have a total of 6 prompts or 6 examples in front of us. And what I'm going to do is finally go ahead and paste this over here again. And I'm going to have 11. And this time I'm going to ask it to generate 4 examples for me. So I already have 6. I'm generating 4 more. So I'm going to let it do its job. And while it is doing its job, I'm going to go ahead and open Excel. Now, the reason we are opening Excel is so that we can copy all these examples over there, get a good count. Okay, you can use something else as well if you want to use. I'm trying to ensure that I have more than 100 prompts in a single file. Okay, so there it is. It has generated 4 examples for me. So now it's saying, I'm sorry, I can't generate a response. Please ask another question and I'll try again. But I think it has already generated my 4 examples. So I'm going to be happy and call it a day. Okay. Sometimes the free version kind of freaks out a little bit, but I think we should be good. So now what we have is a total of 10 records or 10 prompts for us. So let's go here, paste them right there. And there you have. So I have 10 records. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these and I'm just going to go ahead and paste them. So 20, 30, 40, 50. Remember, I need more than 100, so I'm just copying and pasting these right here. So I'm going to have like, okay, I think I lost it. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy a few more. So I have 122 records, so I'm good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of these, Control C, go back to my notepad and paste it right here. And we have created a sample file for ourselves. We are going to call this batch input.jsonl, or you can call it whatever you like. So essentially it is batch input.jsonl. You can call it or give it any name that you like. So go to File, Save. I am going to call it batch JSONL. Where am I going to put this? I'm going to put this in maybe Amazon Q. Okay, I'm going to put it in Amazon Q. Okay, that's the folder, batch input.jsonl, and save. Perfect. So we have basically created our input file with 100 records, and we are calling it batch input.jsonl. You can call it batch.jsonl or whatever name that you like. Let's go to the next step. Now upload this batch input or batch JSONL file to our input S3 bucket. So let me go here. I'm going to now close queue. This is my batch input bucket, upload. And over here, I'm going to add files. And where is my file? Now it was in recordings. Amazon Q, batch input.jsonl, open and upload. Okay, so we have uploaded our JSONL file. So we have completed step 4. Now what we need to do is we need to create a batch inference job. So we will go to Amazon Bedrock, we will go to batch inference and then start creating a job. So go here, go to Amazon Bedrock. So this is Amazon Bedrock. And we have to go to inference and assessment, batch inference. And over here, we have to click on create job. So we have to provide a job name. Now you can select Cloud 3 or 3.5 Haiku. Select your batch JSON file as your input data file. Select your output bucket. Create a new service role. Provide it a name. Remember to note down the name of your role. And then click on batch inference job. So click on create batch inference job. Let's go back. I'm going to give it 4. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and select my model, Anthropic. I'm going to say Cloud Haiku 3.5. I'm going to go ahead and select the location of my JSONL file. So this is my JSONL file, choose. And for my output location, I'm going to go ahead, select my output bucket, choose, and put a slash after that. Okay, otherwise sometimes it gives an error. And I'm going to say create and use a new service role. And I'm going to say my Bedrock service role 2. You can give whatever name that you like. Copy this role and go back to your notepad and go here and paste it right here. Remember, we have to release these resources later. And finally, go ahead and click on create batch inference job. So we have given all the required parameters. We are creating a new service role and we are good. So click on this particular button, create batch inference job. Now, if you get this particular error, if you see there are two errors over here, for whatever reason, sometimes, especially when I am creating a new role over here, I always get this particular error. And I hope that Bedrock team resolves it. But what to do in this case? Either you can use an existing service role or you will have to wait for them to resolve this particular error. So what we are going to do is, now this is not going to continue further along over here. So what we will have to do is we'll have to go to IAM. Okay, so let me actually open, I'm going to close the formatter for now. We don't need the example anymore, so I'm going to close this. And I am going to go to console. And let's go to IAM. So we will have to use a workaround over here. So if you are getting this particular error, there is a workaround for us. So go to IAM. Now, remember that when you are trying to create a new role, you will see there's a link over here, view permission details. So click on this, view permission details, and it tells you that this is the permissions policy and this is the trust relationship. So it's already created everything for you. So what we will do is we will go to IAMs, we will go to policies, and we will create a policy over here. Now, remember that you only have to do this if you are getting that error that I showed you earlier. If you're not getting the error, just continue further along. This is a workaround. So I'm going to come over here, click on create policy. Choose a service. So I'm going to go to JSON actually because we have the JSON. And I am going to actually copy this entire policy. So Control C, go back here and Control A and Control V. So we have our entire policy copied over here. Click on next. Now I have to give a policy name. Remember, you have to delete all this. So Control C, Control V, and give policy. Right? And copy that in your description. We are good and create policy. So now we are creating the policy. After we have created the policy, the next thing that we will do is we'll create a role. So click on create role and go ahead and select custom trust policy. Now go back, copy this trust relationship from here, copy, paste it right here. So Control A, Control V, paste. Click on next. Now you will have to go ahead and select your permissions policy. So remember what was our policy name. So copy this, paste it right here. This is a policy. This was a policy that we just created. Click on next. Give it a role name. This is a role name. This is a role name. Everything looks good and click on create role. So our role has been created. Now, for whatever reason, although if I go ahead and click on use an existing role, our role is not visible over here. It doesn't refresh for whatever reason. So in this case, I will have to actually cancel this, go back in by clicking create job. So go back and redo the steps. So I'd given the name as batch 4, right? So copy this, put this right here. And remember our input file was here. So the input file. Our output bucket is here. So choose Remember to give that slash, otherwise sometimes it gives an error. And now use an existing service role. And our service role, my Bedrock service role 2, should be visible. So select that and click on Create Batch Inference Job. So, oh, sorry, I have not selected the model. Anthropic 3.5 Haiku, so we should be good. Okay, and then click on Create Batch Inference Job. So, perfect. So now our job has been submitted. So we have completed all of these steps. Now, after you submit your job, your input file will be validated. And if it is valid, then the job will be scheduled and executed when its turn comes. After the job has been completed, then we will go and look at our output bucket and basically review our jsonl.out file. Now remember, depending upon how many records, how much time, how many jobs are running behind the scenes, it will take certain amount of time for this job to be scheduled. It can even take a few hours for it to get validated, for it to get scheduled, for it to get executed and completed. So please be patient. So let's go back, and it has submitted the job. So close this, and you can see the status over here is submitted. And as you see, I have a whole bunch of failed jobs from my previous attempts. Some of them are completed. So yes, you can get errors, especially some validation errors. So be patient. So click on this refresh. And now see, the status has changed to validating. So it is validating our input. It will take some time for it to validate our input. So keep on refreshing this. If our JSON file gets validated correctly, then this job will be queued for execution. And finally, when its turn comes, it will be executed. So as you can see, it is still validating. So it may actually take some time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. And when the status changes, I will resume recording again. So as you can see, our status for our job has been changed to scheduled. So it has been scheduled now. So all our validations went really very well. Our input file is in good shape. So it has been scheduled. And now if you can see, it is in progress. That means it's being executed right now. So it's being executing. And once the execution finishes, then the status will be changed to completed. So it will take a couple of minutes. It's still in progress. So I'm going to stop the recording again. Since we have about almost 122 records, it will take some time for it to complete processing all these prompts. So our job has completed successfully. And now let us go and look at its output. So if you remember, we scheduled our job, we completed our job, all of that has been done successfully, and it has been executed as well. So post its completion, now we need to go to our output bucket and review our jsonl.out file. So let us do that. So let's go inside, let's take a look at it. Okay, these are the job details, etc. This is the input location. This is the output location. If we click on this, it should take us to our output location. So this is the output bucket. It has created a folder over here. Let's click on this particular folder and batch input json_all.out. So let's basically go ahead and download this particular file. So I have downloaded this file and let me open this particular file and I'm going to open it with Notepad. So if you can see, for each of our prompts, now we have an output. Remember, we had 122 prompts from our end. So let us go and review this particular output. So let's copy this. Go back to our formatter. So let me open up my JSON formatter again. This time around, we will copy this over here and it's going to format it. So our output is in a compact format. So what we are going to do is we are going to make it more readable by formatting our JSON correctly. So this was our input. Analyze the sentiment of this customer review. I have been using EC2 for my web application and I'm impressed with the scalability and performance. The pricing is competitive, but I find the configuration options a bit overwhelming for beginners. And let's see what the model output is. So the detailed sentiment analysis, mostly positive, is talking about some of the negative aspects as well. Then it's talking about the tone, constructive and balanced. And the key insights is a reviewer appreciates the technical capabilities, recognizes the value, and basically it's a mixed sentiment leaning towards positive. So this is the output that we have got from our model. And this is for one of our records. Now let us go ahead and look at another record. So let's copy record number 3. So Control C again. We will go back to the formatter. Okay, right here. Control A, Control V. And this time the input was provide a brief explanation of key differences between Amazon S3 Standard and S3 Glacier storage classes. And it has basically provided a brief comparison. All of the points have been mentioned over here. Similarly, if you would like, you can actually go ahead and review the output for each of the inputs or each of the prompts that we had provided to the model. There are a total of 122 separate outputs that have been mentioned over here. Do not copy all of this into your JSON formatter because the formatting will not work. These are individual records that have been copied over here. So remember, we had given a separate individual records as an input. Similarly, we have got separate individual records as an output as well. So there are a total of 122 over here. If you want, you can copy this. And I'm not sure if my Excel is still open. It is open. There it is. Sheet 2 and paste it here. Let's see if I can paste it as text. I don't know if I can paste it as text. Okay. Okay, paste it. Where's paste? Okay, there it is. Paste it. Oh, there you go. And how many do we have? We have 122. And this is with our model inference this time around. Yes, so you can actually now copy one of the records again if you want from here. If you want, you can go to your formatter, paste it right there. And okay, sorry, I copied the wrong thing, it seems. Did I copy the wrong thing? Okay, is this the output? No, it's not the output then. Okay, okay, copy, Control C. I think I copied the input by mistake. Or I didn't copy it completely. Let's see if I can go to another Excel spreadsheet. Click and paste. Okay. Let's see, hopefully. Okay, we have 122 and I am trying to copy this completely. So Control C, go back over here, Control V, and now we have summarize the key benefits of using Amazon CloudFront delivery content. And now we have our model inference right here. So it has given us 8 benefits, as you can see. Okay, so we have completed this step successfully. And let us go back and we are good to go. So finally, our batch was executed, validated, completed successfully. We have got our model inference. Now, the most important task is to go back and release all the resources. So close this, go back and delete your buckets. So go to your buckets, select your bucket, empty. Please be very careful and do this. Okay, otherwise it is going to cost you money. So empty, exit, delete, empty, permanently, delete, empty, exit, delete this bucket, delete. So one bucket has been deleted and delete this bucket. This is absolutely critical, guys. And then remember, we created an IAM role. So let me go to IAM role. We created a policy and a role. So let's delete the role and then delete the policy. So it was my Bedrock. What was the name of that role that we created? This is the one. Okay, so delete this role. Delete. Delete. And remember, we created a policy. So select this. Delete. Delete. Okay, so it's deleted a policy. And our job has been completed. So we are good to go. So we deleted all of this and we are good with everything over here. So we have deleted all the resources that we had provisioned. Now, of course, I did this with Cloud 3.5 Haiku. If you want, you can use Cloud 3 Haiku as well. So I hope that this lab was helpful. Do practice it. It's an amazing feature. And it's good to see how you can have multiple prompts processed in very little time using batch inference and creating a batch job. So thank you very much, and I will see you shortly in some other video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.